I'm Groot. Hey guys, really quick review here because I am actually about to go to a movie, and it's actually going to be the same movie that I saw last night. It's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Super good. Can't wait to go see it again, which I'm doing in like an hour. So I'm going to get ready here and I'm going to take off. But first, I'm going to tell you guys about it. And partway through this, I'm going to get into spoilers, but I will let you know before I do that. Okay, so Guardians of the Galaxy. You probably already saw the first one if you want to see the second one. The first one was amazing. I loved it. Probably the best Marvel movie so far. That's hard to say, but I'm going to say, yeah, I believe so. It's definitely one of my favorite movies. Fantastic. And went into this movie, part 2, a little worried because it had so much to live up to. Now, I don't go into sequels expecting or requiring them to top the first. I just want them to live up to the first. This movie does that. Now, I do want to say this. For a while, I was worried. I was watching a movie and I was worried for a while. Because here's the thing about sequels to something like this. The first movie gets to do a slow build because they're origin stories. When you're talking about superhero movies or sci-fi movies like with heroes and stuff like Star Wars, you know, the first movie, slow build, getting to know these characters, they're falling into their situations like Luke Skywalker. And this, you know, Guardians of the Galaxy has a lot of similarities to Star Wars, or the new versions of Star Trek and stuff. But so, you know, you get that slow build, getting to know the characters, get good character development in the first movies. And then in the sequel, usually right into the action from like the first scene. And sometimes they suffer from being too fast-paced and just a lot of, you know, taking all the good stuff from the first movie and just amping it up and just filling the whole sequel with just the one-liners and the jokes that worked before and all that stuff. I won't say this movie doesn't do that, but that's the thing. At first, I was worried that that's what they were doing. They were just amping it up and just doing the jokes, focusing on the jokes, focusing on putting that great soundtrack out there like they did in the first one. I was just, you know, you can get jaded watching from the beginning, but even if you're super getting that impression, if you stick with this movie, it has a great story and it has all the emotional stuff. Like, to me, the first film had some good emotional moments. This one will make you cry at the end. The first one it makes you cry at the beginning with Star-Lord's mom who's dying and everything. This one has its own thing, and it's the end. You know, you're building up throughout the movie to it. And it's so good. And there's so many characters in this movie. Characters from the first movie. It's not like too many characters like, you know, like some of the DC movies do, or even you know, like the Marvel movies can be focused on all the different characters, but they still managed to do a great job with it. But this movie was, it's so amazing the way they had all these different characters and they gave them all like good roles and arcs and everything. It was just fantastic. Characters from the first movie that you didn't you didn't think were going to be a big deal, and then in this movie they're just amazing. I'm trying not to get into spoilers. Let me just say that I want to say the stars of this movie, the ones who steal the show, or the ones you can't really say that because they all get good time, you know, and they all get attention and everything. And there's a couple of new characters and they're great. And I'm trying to like wait on the spoilers. I guess I'll just say before I get into spoilers and stop worrying about it. If you're wondering about going to see this, you should go see this. It's amazing. I'm about to get into spoilers. Let me just say that I went to see it at the Alamo Drafthouse here in Austin, which is where I see most things. it was, you know, it was first night. It was Thursday night. I had to go to like a 10:20 show because you know, it was hard to get at any, and I got like the last seat at the 10:20 show. I went with my sister. I had free popcorn and Coke because for my birthday they send me that in the Victory program they have there, which is the rewards program. And this is here in North Austin. I went to the Alamo Village. I found out that earlier that day there are some really great cosplayers here in Austin, and there's one that I follow on Instagram, and I forget her name, but she it's I can almost remember it, but I'm not gonna give the wrong name, but she cosplayed as Gamora at the Alamo Draft House, and she posted the live video on Instagram, and it was amazing. Her costume and everything, and I was just so upset that happened at like around 5 in the afternoon when I got out of work. So I was just seeing it on my Instagram, and I was like, oh, there's not gonna be anybody or anything like that going on when I get there, because I'm not gonna be there till 10:20, and there wasn't. But and sometimes they do still at least have like somebody introduce the movie when it's the first night, but that didn't happen. But yeah, when you're going to showing that late, it's got to be a horror film for them to do anything. The Lakeline did something there for Rings, but anyway, yeah, but I got front row of the Village where they got the seats to lay back, and that's where I got that mask, which is actually a menu where it has special menu items that are inspired by Guardians of the Galaxy. I never order from those though, because there's never anything that really gets me. They did have the special glasses though. For some movies, they'll come out with special pint glasses that are like $10 each. And usually you have to pre-order them, but sometimes they'll sell them to you right there. And luckily they sold me one. They sold my sister one. Very cool. It says Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Has a rocket on there, and it has Baby Groot. And it has a little write-up, which I thought was really cool, because that's like... that's the first one I've seen them do that on, although I haven't gotten every single glass they've made. And I remember the old like Burger King or McDonald's, whoever made the Return of the Jedi glasses, had like little write-ups and everything. So that was really cool and retro. But anyway, yeah, so we had a great time, and can't wait to go again tonight. The cast was amazing. The new characters, before I get into spoilers, there's a new girl named Mantis, if I'm remembering her name correctly. And let me pull up the names back here. I'm pretty sure it's Mantis. Yeah. Played by Pom Klementieff. I liked her. She vaguely reminded me of my type and everything. One of my types. I have a few. I also like Karen Gillan, I think is how you pronounce her name. I'm not sure. Or Gillan, I don't know. But she plays Nebula. She's from Doctor Who, the redhead. She's all blue and bald and half metal, and she still looks hot in this movie. But that's Nebula. Mantis is this, you know, oddly attractive girl with antenna, and but she's also got this really cute personality, really sweet and innocent. She was really fun, especially when she was playing off of Drax. Drax was awesome. It's amazing. He's totally like laughing and cheerful through this whole movie. He's like changed completely because he's got this family now. And but really the highlights of the movie, I would say, and Rocket was great. I don't have my Rocket figure out right now. These are from the new line of figures from this movie in particular. I've got my and they haven't come out with Rocket or Gamora yet, but these guys are kind of the stars of the movie, in my opinion. You've got Baby Groot here, who is just you can't say anybody steals the movie, but you come away thinking about Baby Groot a lot. He was adorable in this whole movie, and they do give him a lot of screen time, but I was worried he was going to be annoying because, you know, kids, but he was not annoying. He was just delightful from the very beginning to the end. But Yondu, right here, this guy, the blue guy, he was so good in this. I can't even tell you. He's the breakout, I mean, he's not a new actor. He's a great actor. He's been around forever. But I mean, his character was like the character that broke out of in this movie to be like this awesome character that you didn't expect. You know what I mean? That's kind of what I'm trying to say. He was kind of a major character. He was definitely a major character in this. Him and Star-Lord, and of course Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell played, this is not really a spoiler, but let me just go ahead and say spoiler alerts right now. Kurt Russell plays a character called Ego, the living planet. And I didn't really know what that meant until I saw the movie, although I had an idea and it kind of was accurate. And of course, he's also Star-Lord's father. We found out in the first movie that Star-Lord, there was something special about his genealogy, about his father, whoever his father was. We find out it's Kurt Russell, perfect casting, and he's he's basically like a god, but basically he's this alien life form. You know how it is in Marvel with the Thor characters and everybody. You can be evolved in a way that you're like godlike, and that's basically what this character was like. But he's also well named, and I don't know where he got his name, if he named himself or what. But yeah, he's got an ego on him, and it's like I said, spoiler alert. Throughout the film, we soon discover he's the villain of the film. I mean, there's other villainous characters, but he's the villain, and the big baddie that they have to battle at the end. Before they get to that, though, the characters get split up. It's very Empire Strikes Back, and it totally works. Some people have put negative reviews saying, oh, half the movie the characters aren't even together. You ever seen Empire Strikes Back? It's this. It plays out the same with the same strength. Totally. The characters are having their, like Rocket's having issues with Star-Lord. It's sort of a ego thing, and they're then you have a Gamora who's having issues with her sister Nebula, but they're kind of trying to reconcile. Well, they're not really, but that it feels like that's going to happen. And of course, like I said, spoiler alert, that sort of does happen, and it's awesome. I mean, everything in this movie, the big spoiler, I don't even want to say the big spoiler. I don't mean like a big spoiler, but I mean, it's not like a reveal. It's stuff we knew from the first movie, but the emotional things they do with it. Again, it's all about Yondu and Star-Lord and their relationship, as well as the whole Kurt Russell thing. As Star-Lord's real father versus Yondu, the guy who basically raised him, but wasn't very nice about it. But sometimes he was. We didn't see that. But we see some of it here. But it was just super emotional, and just. It was amazing where they took these characters. It was just fantastic. I can't say enough good things about this movie. I highly recommend going to see it. I loved the cast. Most of it is returning cast, but you have some new characters. We don't see the Nova Corp in this one. I was hoping we could get some expansion on the characters of those beautiful girls with the beautiful hair who were always just writing things down behind Glenn Close, but they didn't come back. But yeah, it was just so awesome, guys, and it's super funny. There's a Mary Poppins joke in there that just killed me. It's sort of a more than one joke in this really quick interaction, but so many good things. There are, when you're easing into the movie, you're kind of they're throwing out so many jokes, and they kind of write in the music, and I wasn't sure if I was liking that, where they're it was kind of worked into the plot. They were giving a lot of attention to the fact that they play these like classic songs and everything, but it all works. It really does. It's just I was kind of on edge because I wanted this movie to be awesome, and I was a little worried, but it totally was. I mean, I was ready for disappointment, but it did not happen. This was amazing. The visuals, the characters, it lives up to the first, and in some ways it goes beyond that. You know, it's like I said, you have to view how it's different. You know, you can't expect a series of movies to be like because I've seen some of the reviews. After I saw the movie, I saw some of the reviews because I was excited, you know, and I wanted to read how much everybody was loving it. And of course, you have cynical reviews where people are like, it's not as fresh as the first one. You can't, you know. It's very hard to top Pigs with Pigs, as Walt Disney said. He said you can't top Pigs with Pigs, but I mean, you can live up to it. And they did take it in a totally different. This was such an original movie. It was really original. I wasn't like predicting everything that was going to happen, you know. I mean, to some degree, you know that things are going to work out. These are heroes, but you also don't know who's going to live and who's going to die, and I found it to be very fresh in its own way, you know. It's not the first time we're seeing these characters. It's not the first time we're hearing classic rock music with the Guardians of the Galaxy and all that. So yeah, it's, you know, it's not gonna like stun you the way the first one did in that sense. But the fact that it's just an amazing movie, and it has an amazing soundtrack again, and it's a whole new story, and there are new characters, and they're all excellent, and they're not just the same. Yeah, some things are going to be familiar. That's nice, you know. You want to see some familiar things when you're returning to the same universe and the same characters. Howard the Duck is back in a better cameo because, you know, it's kind of like the cameo at the end of the first film, but it's actually in the film. We got to give Howard the Duck his own show or his own movie or something. Come on. They knew that fans were like waiting for a Howard the Duck scene, but it was awesome. At the end of the credits, there's more of the Stan Lee cameo, and that's great because, you know, we want to see Stan Lee all we can. Although I was kind of hoping for another Howard the Duck cameo, but yeah, you know, I'm kind of rushing this because I've got to go. But this movie was fantastic. You know, Yondu was amazing, and Baby Groot. Everybody was fantastic. I love the new characters. There was a lot of stuff about all the space pirates and everything, the Ravagers, you know. I'm probably forgetting a bunch of stuff. I didn't really go into all of the plot. Just, you know, just mentioning that it has to do with Kurt Russell as the villain, and he's this guy with a huge ego, and it has to do with Star-Lord's mom. And then also there's the other part of the plot is about Yondu, and it's just amazing the way it all comes together. All the characters have their own little plot going, basically. Drax, it's more about, he has these great interactions with Mantis, and he's a great character, and he's well established in this film. He has a good role in this movie. He doesn't really have a story happening specifically to him. That's mainly Yondu and Rocket, Rocket and Yondu and Star-Lord and Kurt Russell, and then there's the sisters Gamora and Nebula. But then there's also Gamora's kind of budding romance with Star-Lord. It's an unspoken thing. You'll get that when you see the movie. And then there's also, and with Drax, it's lesser extent, but he's very present throughout the film, and he's excellent. He's hilarious. He's a lot of the comedy relief, but he has this great little interaction with Mantis that you don't know really where it's going, and then you find out, and it's so funny. He was a big part of the comic relief, really. Everything was so good. Yeah, you need to go see this if you liked the first one at all. Give this one a chance because it's just as good. I'm not gonna say that it's better because it's different enough that it's good in its own way, and they're kind of equal, and that's all that I ask from sequels. You don't have to top me, but be just as good. Take it in a, you don't have to like switch gears, but you know, be a little original with at least the story or something, to where it's not just repeat, but it was whatever you would want in a sequel. You know, if you're a rational, reasonable person who doesn't like want something weird. I mean, this was like the ideal sequel. The first movie was like perfect, and this movie it's up there. It's right up there with it. It's just amazing. So go out and see it, guys. If you have a draft house, go see it there. But yeah, definitely go see it. If you have an IMAX, see it there. Okay, I'll talk to you later.